And you are live.
Okay, good morning everyone. Today is Thursday, September 29th, and this is the beginning of an interview with Jennie DeAngelis. We're at the office of the Macomb Catholic Services, 15945 Canal Road in Clinton Township, Michigan. Jennie is 83 years of age, and she was born in the year 1922, I believe. Jennie currently resides in Roseville, Michigan, and she's going to give us her story today. My name is Butch Koff, and I'll be the interviewer. I just met Jennie. Today our videographer will be Paul Wilhelm. Jennie, would you please state for the recording what war and branch of service you served in?
I served in World War II in the Women's Army Corps.
And where did you serve?
Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, London, and Northern Europe.
Fantastic. Okay, let's ease into this veterans history thing, and let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born, where did you grow up, go to school, and how you ended up in your branch of service.
I was born in Ridgedale, Saskatchewan, Canada, although I was 2 when I came to the States. I grew up in North Dakota, in various little towns in North Dakota, because my father was, I used to say elevator man, but I learned when I lived in the east to say grain buyer.
Okay.
Because they saw him going up and down the buildings. And so we lived in various towns. I graduated from high school from Miramar, North Dakota, and I have a degree from the University of North Dakota.
Oh, fantastic. And what's your degree in?
Education.
Education. Fantastic. So, how did you end up in your branch of service?
I had spent a year teaching in Minnesota, where I had the only brown eyes in the town. And it had been a very difficult year, and I didn't think I ever wanted to teach school again. And I didn't have much choice. My parents wanted me to stay with it, and I decided I'd follow the colors, which was a thing to do in those days.
So, if I'm correct, they weren't drafting women.
No, they never drafted women.
It
was
never
voluntary.
drafted women. So you really enlisted. And how many choices did you have?
You could have the Navy and the Marines.
Okay.
Had organizations too.
Okay. And what was the reason you chose the Army? Just?
I don't really know. Just that it was the one that was convenient.
Yeah, maybe the only one that was in town.
I think I might have been the only one from North Dakota that enlisted.
Okay. So that was probably what year? 1943.
43.
And so the war is just getting underway.
Yes.
Tell me about your boot camp and training experiences.
I took my training in Des Moines, Iowa, in August when it was extremely hot. We went through the regular routine.
Physical?
Physical. Well, when we took the physical, all they did was close the men's line off and run us through.
Right. I mean, also boot camp was a physical training situation also.
Yes, yes. And we always took over men's barracks. There were no facilities for women. It was all men's facilities that we took over. And I did so well on the Signal Corps test, and I don't know why.
Is that waving of the flags, or?
No, it was listening to dit, dit, dot.
Oh yeah, okay, the Morse code.
The Morse code thing that they gave me 5 more tests before they realized I wasn't an expert at it. But I ended up in the Signal Corps.
Okay.
In it anyhow.
What other branches could the women be in back then, you know?
Almost any branch.
Yeah. I mean,
we had to be clerical.
I mean, yeah, okay, a clerical type situation.
It was set up to take the place of men, so men could be released
to work on
to
the front
combat.
lines. Yeah, great. Do you recall any of your instructors or anything?
I ended up with the same first sergeant overseas as I had in basic training, which was rather strange.
Yeah, but convenient
yes.
Sometimes. You know, he knew you personally.
No, she.
She knew you personally. So really all your officer corps and stuff was all female
they
too?
were women, yes.
Yeah, fantastic. And there again, what happened after boot camp? Where'd you go? What assignment?
I was sent to Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, and I went all alone. Arrived there in the dark, pouring rain, and got off the train. There was nobody there to meet me, but fortunately there was a young lieutenant that they'd sent a staff car out for. So I got taken to the fort, We always had to have a physical before we were allowed on a new post. And it happens the doctor that gave me the physical was married to my sister's best friend's sister.
Oh, just
So that was rather odd.
Yeah.
But then from there I went into clerical work.
Okay, even though, so actually with the Morse code, they realized that, no, we're not going to have her do that. So, but, you know,
Yeah.
so consistent of clerical work, was it just basic filing, typing,
Yes.
stenography type work?
Yes.
Did you know shorthand, by the way?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
And I'd only had a half year of typing, so I really wasn't a great typist.
You were a two-finger typist like myself?
No, I typed with all fingers.
Oh, wow, fantastic. So here you are sitting in New Jersey, and your assignment there obviously
Yes.
is working with whatever office they had you assigned to, paper-wise and stuff like that. Proceed on from there. Give us a little travelogue.
Well, from there, it was given a choice of either going to officers' candidate school or going overseas, and I definitely picked the overseas. There was no question in my mind about which one I wanted.
Was it because you wanted to serve over there, or you just didn't
I
want
wanted
to be
experience.
on the management side of?
I wanted the experience.
Okay, great. So how did you get over there?
Well, I went into basic training in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. And before I went in, I had to leave at home, and one of the people that had homesteaded with my grandmother asked me where I was going, and I said I didn't know. And he said he hoped I'd get to England and meet his grandson, John Charles, which seemed rather far out. And I went to Fort Oglethorpe where we trained, but they gave us very strenuous training.
Is this advanced training from your first
This was
contact?
overseas training.
Okay, great.
And they'd wake us up at midnight for a 10-mile hike with a full pack.
All women, right?
All women, and we did the wall and the tires and all the rest of it. And only were issued one uniform, one fatigue outfit, and we had no chance to wash it because in Georgia the nights were cold.
Right.
And so you
Slept in your uniform.
You drilled in mud and with dirt flying. Georgia wasn't my favorite place.
You guys must have been quite a sight.
Well, and they kept telling us how lucky we were.
Yes, I know. I've been there.
And everybody seemed to envy us, and while we were going through the strenuous training.
Right.
So we finished our training, and we were put on train and went to New York, where when we got to the harbor, the Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Mary sat side by side, and we boarded the Queen Elizabeth.
Wow. Along with soldiers that were going.
It was loaded.
Yeah.
Yes, the 82nd Airborne was on it. I remember that. And the men spent one day on deck, and then the next day down in the
Were you
ship.
getting a lot of cat calls and whistles and
We had to go way down in the bowels of the ship to eat, and English food was lousy. And of course, you got all the pats and pinches on the way down. So it got to the point where many of us spent time in the ship's stores eating Hershey bars instead of going to dinner.
The sexual harassment was probably pretty...
Oh yes, we got it all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because men weren't happy with having women in their areas.
Yeah, with a little, not respect there.
Yeah, no. The men we worked with respected us.
Right.
But we always got a little hassle.
Yeah, so now you're on a ship. Captain's not going to let you steer. So what did you do? How many days to get across?
It was just 4 days to cross the Queen. The Queen couldn't travel in convoy because they traveled too fast. And the last day we were on board, we went way south because there had been a submarine sighting in the area.
And how was the ride?
It was fine up until the last night, and there was a storm the last night. And you wouldn't think that big ship would rock, but it rocked.
Yeah, and for the majority of people, they get a little seasick.
Yes, we had one girl that had to be taken off the ship.
So then you arrived in what port in England?
The Firth of Clyde in Scotland.
Okay, Firth of Clyde in Scotland. Got off the ship there.
Got off the ship and they fed us, and here was this scrambled eggs after all these English lousy food. So we all piled our plates up with scrambled eggs and found out we were dehydrated.
Oh no.
And you know, in the service, you put it on your plate.
You eat it.
You ate it.
You finish it.
Yeah. So then they put us on a train and took us down to London. We arrived with the buzz bombs.
The buzz bombs were coming in at that time you were there.
And as long as you could hear them, fine, but when they shut off, duck.
Because it's coming down.
It's coming down.
Now, were you in a particular Army base?
No, we were in the city of London. We were stationed on what was called Bryanston Square.
Okay, this is your unit of women.
Oh, the whole headquarters.
Oh, okay, the whole headquarters.
At that time, we were called 1st Army Group. It was the headquarters under General Bradley.
Uh-huh.
And we ran the Army.
Oh, yes, yes. He was...
Eisenhower gets credit for a lot of things that Bradley did.
Oh, I'm sure, I'm sure.
Yeah, so we were all there. And in fact, we fell out for revelry every morning until one morning when buzz bomb shut off right overhead.
Ooh.
And after that, we didn't have revelry.
Now, that's your first experience with, combat and stuff.
Yes.
What was your personal feelings about this? Like, holy cow, what's happening here? Did you have expectations that this was happening?
I think we were young and foolish, and we took it all in stride.
Right.
They said we were a hand-picked group.
Uh-huh.
And I think we were. One thing, I think we were from the various states, because I know there was one girl from Minnesota and one from Pennsylvania and one from Texas, and I think I was the only one we could find from North Dakota.
Right.
And we had become, what they had put us through in the overseas training, we had become a unit.
Right.
We had gelled.
You bonded.
We bonded. And
Right.
we didn't know fear.
Right, well, you were young and
Very young and
stupid.
foolish. Yeah, yeah. And
Excuse
our
the
captain
expression.
would get furious with us because if we were in the building and we heard a buzz bomb or the sirens went off, we'd hit for the roof instead of going to the cellar.
Right, you wanted to see what it was.
But we were going to be on top if it was bombed.
Well, obviously they picked you for the intelligence part of it. Oh, okay, so here we are, in London. What was your assignment there, doing the clerical work? Or?
Doing clerical work.
Uh-huh.
The master sergeant in charge of the division I was in said that he picked the one that had scored best on the typing test and got the worst typist in the bunch. Because when we took the test, I didn't care. I knew I wasn't a typist.
Right.
Relaxed and typed well.
Right. Amazing. So, did you really think this was going to be your permanent assignment, or did you?
No, we knew we were on the way to the continent.
Okay.
We knew it was only a matter of time.
Right. Well, that's anticipating the buzz bombs, knowing that you're going to go someplace even worse, probably.
Yeah, we were due to leave the 16th of July, but the armies didn't move as fast as they expected.
In 43?
In 43.
Right.
No, that was in 44.
44, okay.
So we reached the continent the 1st of August, away to the shore. And I don't think that was necessary, but we weren't the favorite.
No, you were...
We were approaching.
So did you come on the landing craft, or?
We went on a Liberty ship, and that was an experience too. They took us over the side. There was probably a foot of area between the boat, the landing craft, and the ship.
Okay, so you're going over like the Jacob's ladders and
No, we're just climbing over.
Oh.
No ladder, just climbing over it.
Okay.
And it got down and it wouldn't release. So they brought it back up, took it over to the other side, and that one released and got down, but it wouldn't let loose. So they brought us back up, back over to the other one, and when it released, the davit swung and hit one of the girls in the helmet, and she ended up with a blood clot.
Oh my goodness.
And had to be sent home.
Oh.
But then they took us ashore, and of course we were full pack. We had musket bags that contained 2 weeks' supply that we'd have to use.
You weren't carrying weaponry, were you?
No, we didn't have weapons, but we had the steel helmets and the gas mask and the canteen all attached to us.
And that weighed quite a bit.
Bedroll over the top of the musket bag. And waded ashore, soaking wet, but of course it was August, so we dried fast. But there were no provisions for us.
Whereabouts in
Omaha Beach.
Omaha Beach, oh my goodness. Could you see any of the...
There was still...
Devastation?
Devastation, still scrap.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Still all, not cleared off at all. And then trucks came down and picked us up. But the trucks didn't get there till just about dusk. And the last thing they said to us when we boarded the trucks was, if you're straight, don't go into the hedgerows because they haven't been demined.
Okay.
So here we go, great big huge August moon.
Lighting up everything on the ground.
All the trees and all the buildings are shattered, and there's this terrible stench in the air, which we didn't know was animals, but we knew it was the odor of death. for a 100-mile ride.
Oh.
But we didn't get straight.
Well, thank goodness, eh?
So then we got to headquarters, and we were stationed in tents in an apple orchard.
So that's your next assignment, right?
That was our next assignment, yeah.
And what are you doing there? Still doing your
Still,
clerk?
I worked in replacements.
Okay,
We had to send in monthly a order for so many cooks, so many riflemen, so many
okay.
whatever. And I worked with the young man who had figured out how many would be killed on D-Day and how many wounded, and how many of the wounded would be able to come back, and he was too close.
Uh-huh. You mean to be incorrect?
Yes.
Yes.
He was off, I think, by 10,000.
Oh.
Which I figured was too close.
Yes, yes, yes. So you're doing all of this, a young woman.
There were 47 of us.
47 women. You had some women officers and some men officers?
No, we never had men officers over us immediately. We worked with men officers.
Okay.
But we had a captain and a lieutenant and a first sergeant, but it was our cadre.
Right. So your personal experience and everything, were you adapting to this pretty well, you think?
Oh, yes, yes. And that was where I first met the man who became my husband.
Ah.
He was mess sergeant. And of course we had outdoor mess because everything was outdoor.
Let me ask, did you like him because he was cute or because he was in charge of the food?
We didn't like him. We didn't like him at all. Anyhow, as you came down the mess line, the last garbage can was clear hot water. And we had no facilities. So, of course, everybody would fill their cup with hot water.
Right.
Well, he put a guard on it.
Oh.
To stop us from stealing water.
Right.
But that wasn't hard. A couple of us would distract the guard and everybody else would walk off with their hot water. But that was my first experience with him.
Okay.
So we didn't like him at all.
None of
None of the girls.
I mean, he was a little too
He
strict.
was too GI.
Yeah. So, go on. You know, what happened then that he sparked your interest?
Well, it took a long time.
Did you chase him till he caught you?
Well, that's what I say, but not really. It was kind of mutual. But anyhow, during that time, the only place we had for showers was, we were the rear echelon. We used to say we were the Eagle's rear. And we had to go up to the middle echelon for showers, which was 7 miles away. So once a week they would put us aboard the truck and take us up this dusty road for showers and then bring us back down again.
Well, fantastic. And finally you're getting a shower.
We got a shower once a week.
Yeah, well that was nice of them, right?
So then from there we moved to, that was St. Lo.
St. Lo,
France. And from there we moved to Laval, France, where we moved into billets, into barracks. And we weren't allowed off the post without an armed escort because it was a Nazi sympathizing area.
Ah.
And we were really kind of corralled to post there.
Right. But, you know, there were some conveniences on
Oh,
the
yes,
post.
yes, yes. And that was where we had a one-star general line us up one noon and tell us we would wear our steel helmets.
Right.
Which we didn't do.
No, even after he ordered it?
No, even after he ordered us to.
Now, was it because you didn't want to mess your hair up?
Yes.
Oh, I understand. I get it.
Yes. Can you imagine what a steel helmet
Oh,
would do?
yeah, it would be terrible, wouldn't it?
Yes.
But, so, obviously there was a little army within your group of women to the other army. You know?
Oh, yes.
We have our own rules.
Yes, we have our own. So, then we moved from there to Versailles, France. We lived in the artillery.
Now, why are you moving? You understand?
As the armies moved, we moved.
Okay.
As they advanced, we followed.
Yes.
And so even today I go to meetings with other women, and they say, where were you stationed in Europe? And I say, I wasn't. I followed the armies as they moved inland. They look at me kind of say, boy, can this will tell a good story.
Well, it was a true.
But we were the only group that did that. We were the only group of women that were considered ground forces.
Right, okay.
So
Now you're in Versailles.
now we're in Versailles, across from the Palace of Versailles.
Okay.
And we were there just a short while, and then while we were there, that was where I ran into a couple of nuns one day when I was out doing an errand of some kind. And they tried to, in broken English, tried to talk me into going back with them to the nunnery because they thought I was camp follower. And I'm trying to explain that, no, I'm not a camp follower, I'm a soldier.
Oh, so they wanted to
They wanted to save me.
clean up your act.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
But,
Well, as you're moving all of this, where's this little mess sergeant at?
He's moving too.
Okay, you keeping an eye on?
Yeah, he was ahead. He would have the biggest mess. He was the one that.
He was the biggest mess sergeant?
He was big. But then from Versailles we went to Verdun.
Uh-huh.
We wintered in Verdun. We were there through the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh. Now, can you hear the combat going on?
No.
Can you see some of the...
No, we couldn't hear the combat going on. We were as close as 6 miles behind the line, but we never saw the combat.
And nobody took any pot shots, no sniper fires?
No. We were in danger during the Battle of the Bulge because we had put the 106th Infantry Division on the line, and they walked right to 75% casualties.
Right.
So they got all the uniforms, all the jeeps, and they spoke. A lot of them spoke as good, if not better, English than we
Right,
did.
so now you're in jeopardy just
So we were in
because of
jeopardy
that.
because of that.
Continue on.
And it was during this time that we got a pass back to Paris. It really wasn't legal, but because we were higher at headquarters, we could pull a little.
Obviously, your little army of women decided what you want to do.
And the nasty sergeant was one of the ones that went, and that's.
Okay. So you went into Paris for R&R?
Yes.
Not as strict back there because obviously this is...
There wasn't much in Paris at that time that was open.
Yeah.
But
just to look at some of the sites.
well, and the, what they call a pension was a place that had hot water. You could take hot baths.
Oh, wow.
That was great.
That was great.
It was really great. But,
small nuance that people don't
yes,
normally
yes.
appreciate.
And during the time in Verdun, Bing Crosby came and sang there. Yes,
Wow. Fantastic.
and we did, in Verdun we had our own mess. Usually we had to eat at company mess.
Right.
Our own mess.
So then obviously the ladies gathered together and say, if it's our mess, we want this, this, and this.
No, we had no choice. But we had a man for a mess sergeant who used to, when he get a little tipsy, cry, what am I going to tell my children? And they say, Daddy, what did you do in the Great War? I cooked for the wax.
Fantastic. That's great. But you know what? Everybody has those jobs that they have to do.
Oh, yes.
So anyways, now you're in Versailles.
Verdun.
Verdun, I'm sorry. Verdun.
Yeah. And then during that time, the war ended.
Yes.
And we moved into Germany. We were in a convoy, 16-mile-long convoy into Germany. And we no longer had cheering French people along the sides.
Right.
Sure-looking Germans who were happy to see us.
Right.
And we moved into Wiesbaden, Germany.
And set up your little
Set
operation
up
there.
our operations there. And,
Now, did you have an indication when you were going to be getting out of the service?
no, but we had enough points when the time came that they started sending people home.
Right.
That we were eligible. And I could have stayed. They wanted me to stay and help write the history of 12th Army Group. Oh, we became the 12th Army Group after we moved onto the continent. We
Right, okay.
went from the 1st Army Group. It's supposed to be something that confused the Germans, but it didn't.
Right.
But they were writing history, but I had gotten a letter from an aunt that my mother wasn't well, and so I took the first chance to come home, and there was nothing the matter with her.
Well, I understand now that the war's over and you're in Germany. I want to back up and drag up my mess sergeant friend that you said. How is he?
Well, we had started going together. I had dated an MP and broken off with him before I started dating him.
This is still during the war.
This is still during the war. And I had gone off post for something, and in the time I was off post, they changed the password.
Oh.
So I get back to the gate, and I don't know the password. and they weren't letting me on post.
And you could be a German-speaking spy.
Oh, they knew who I was, but they weren't letting me on the post.
Oh, okay, just harassing you a little bit.
MPs were.
Oh, yeah.
So anyhow, I stood there and argued, and finally one of my officers came along and cleared me through, or otherwise I might still be out there.
Oh, my goodness.
Trying to get on post.
Yeah. Well, I guess for safety and security, they had to...
Oh, they know. They were just being ornery.
Yeah, okay. Shame. So, okay, here we are.
So then I started dating.
Was that obviously, to enlisted people, that's legal?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Yeah. So we thought about getting married because there were a number of marriages.
Well, you fell pretty hard then if you're thinking about getting married over there.
We had become engaged.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and we thought about getting married. We had a tremendous Irish priest, Father O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
I often wonder what happened to him because he was absolutely tremendous.
A good counselor.
Oh, wonderful man. In fact, when we were moving from Verdun into Germany, he had said to me one day, "What are you going to do, Sergeant, if you get in there and find you don't like it?" And I said, "I'll find me a general and do a little fraternizing."
This is what you told the
This
priest?
is what I told the priest. So from then on, when we would meet when we were in Germany, he would say to me, "Have you been doing any fraternizing lately, Sergeant?" You know, there's a time a priest can be doing more for you than a general. So, but he was just a tremendous man.
Right. So you met this mess sergeant, didn't like him at first,
No.
but he started to grow on you.
But we liked his brother.
Oh.
His twin brother.
His twin brother.
Oh, and then, while we were in Verdun, his older brother had been sent to the line, combat engineers outfit. And we could keep track of him. I kept track of him because I worked in replacements.
Right.
I kept track of him from the time he left the States, but we couldn't do anything until he was on the continent.
Right.
And when he got on the continent, we sent a staff car to pick him up. And he didn't know what was going on, of course. Staff car said, "Get your gear, Sergeant." And he was a mess sergeant, too.
Right.
And brought him back to headquarters and dropped him off at my husband-to-be's mess hall. And then he knew where he was. But that was a night when our officers got a liquor ration. And when our officers got the liquor ration, we had a party.
Oh, yeah.
And so he brought his brother Dan to this party. And the general had rank, so he got to pour his liquor first. Well, Danny had never seen anything above lieutenant colonel before.
Right.
And to have a general come around pour a liquor into your glass,
Right.
He was really astonished. But
Now, let me get this. Did the mess sergeant from your beginnings of your unit was there with you? So he came from the States with you?
no, they were in England.
Okay.
They were in England. We joined them in England.
Yeah, okay, great. So now you got the brothers there. You got your pick of either one, because they both look the same.
They looked so much alike that the colonel that I worked for came in to work one day and he said, as he would say to me, "I don't understand. One time I meet Rock and he throws me a high ball and passes me up like a dirty shirt. And the next time I meet him, he doesn't bother saluting and he stops and talks. I just don't understand it." And I'd say, "I don't know, sir." So he come in one day and he said, "All right now, I went to a ball game last night. And Rock was on third and Rock was catching." He says, "How was that possible?"
Oh, no.
So then he found out there were two of them.
Now, did you get one of your best friends there, your girlfriend, to date the other brother?
No, I
No?
didn't.
You just said, okay.
No.
So there you are, engaged, probably talked to the priest. And where are we proceeding from there then?
Then my opportunity came to go home.
Enough points.
Enough points to go home. So they put us on a plane, flew us to Paris. And when we got on the plane, now this sounds ridiculous. When we got on the plane, the co-pilot came back and asked for orders, and we didn't have any.
Right.
So I knew the...
You don't know the password and you don't have orders.
We
I mean,
don't
what
have
is
orders.
going on with you?
There were probably about 20 of us. And so I knew the number for the field in Paris that was where the Army landed, and I gave them that number. My colonel had been transferred to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So I got on a field phone and called Colonel. And he sent a bus out, picked us up, and took us into Paris, where we were given rooms in a transfer motel.
Right.
Hotel. And we were put up in the attic where you walked so far and the light went on, and then you walked so far and the light went off.
Okay.
And then they took us to the replacement depot the next day.
Right.
And when we got there, well, she was a major now. She was a captain when we landed in England. The woman who had met us was there, and she said, "Oh, these are my 12th Army good girls. 4 commanding generals wanted you, and I told them you weren't staying. You were going home." And she gave us a build-up like you wouldn't believe. So
right. Just
everybody else fell out for reveille. We sent a representative.
Because you're going home.
We're going home.
So you're being a little sassy, getting ready for civilian life.
So,
but you're in France right now, Paris.
Yes. So then they took us over to Southampton.
Okay.
Where we caught the Queen Mary. And we came home on the Queen Mary, which was a little better trip than the one going over.
Right.
But when we got to New York Harbor, they came down and said, the 1st Infantry Division will carry your bags off the ship. And we said, no, they won't. They fought across Europe.
Right.
We carried those bags across Europe. We'll carry them off the ship.
Right. Ooh.
So we did.
You're a feisty group, aren't you?
So then we went to...
Was there a lot of people there?
Well, the ship was pretty crowded, yes.
And obviously all the relatives and friends waving, and it's
yeah.
quite a homecoming.
Quite a homecoming.
But your family is back in North Dakota.
Back in North Dakota. Most of us, there wasn't anybody there for.
Right. Where was this Smith sergeant from?
He was from Connecticut.
Ah.
So we went from the ship, we went to Fort Snelling, where we were to be discharged. And
where's Fort Snelling?
I think Minnesota, either Minnesota or Wisconsin,
okay.
I'm not sure.
All right.
Anyhow, we got to noon on Friday and they said, we'll finish you Monday. And we said, no, we'll finish us today.
Well, you guys are...
oh, we
got the bull by the horns
We
here.
knew we were important. So we had the girl who had been one of Bradley's secretaries with us, and he was, at that time was head of Veterans Affairs.
Right.
And so she said, I want a phone. They said, what do you want a phone for? She said, I'm calling Bradley. Well, she got the phone, she called Bradley, and he said, process my girls.
Ooh.
So they processed us. I think I was black and blue from here to here from where they took blood. But anyhow, then we got the uniforms. We had been issued the first issue of the Ike jacket. And when we were issued it, the English skirts were straight up and down, had no style to them. So we had ordered our skirts 2 sizes too big. And we had one girl who was practically a professional seamstress, a sewing machine with 1 needle.
Oh,
And we ripped the skirts apart and gored them.
Oh.
So they were our uniforms.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
in your army, the girls' army.
And the regulation uniform we had found on almost anybody in Europe. So we had no part of the uniform. So we insisted on having our uniform, and they weren't going to give it to us. And she said, give me a phone. And they said, take the uniform.
So, hey, did you pick up any memorabilia or souvenirs while you were over there in the campaigns? I mean, things that...
Not much. I brought a gun home, which I forgot about, found the other day.
Tell me about that story.
I have no idea where I got it from.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it had to be from there.
Yeah, okay. Was it a pistol?
A pistol. Just about the size of your hand.
Okay. Well, maybe because somewhere in subconscious you wanted some protection. You know.
We wore bayonets in our spats.
Oh, okay. Well, you know.
Just a matter.
Those are stories that people like to hear that you don't realize. You do little things to survive, you know.
Yeah, and they kept us in. We kept in pants until it turned cold, and they put us back in skirts.
Okay.
Typical of Army.
You mean when it turned cold, they put you in skirts?
Put us back in skirts.
Okay, I understand. I understand. So, okay, so now you're running the roost there at discharge. You got out when you told them you wanted it, you kept your uniforms. Now what are we going to do here?
Then I went home to North Dakota, and my husband got out in December.
Were you in communication with them? How was that working out?
Letters.
Letters, yeah.
There wasn't anything else but letters in those days.
Yeah, and that probably took a...
Took a while.
Yeah. But,
so he came out to North Dakota, and we were married, and went back to Connecticut to live.
Okay. So, did the family back in North Dakota approve, or?
Yes.
Yes. And, you obviously...
He had a personality.
No, I bet he did, being a mess cook. But, so then you went back to Connecticut to live,
and we lived there for a couple of years, and then we went back to North Dakota, where I finished my degree at the University of North Dakota.
And then...
on the GI Bill.
So, oh yeah, so you utilized the GI Bill,
yes.
got your degree. Well,
and spent the next 30-some years teaching.
Not in North Dakota?
Not in North Dakota. We moved to... he was a plumber, and in North Dakota, come Christmas time, everything shut down. So we were out of work until spring. So
right. You got to look for a little better...
I had a sister living in the Detroit area, and he came down here and found a job, and we moved to Roseville.
Okay. And what year was that?
52.
52. My goodness. I know Roseville pretty good. Nice town.
Nice town. Nice town.
So there you are, and you're married and living in Roseville. And when did you start your family?
We had started our family in North Dakota.
Okay.
We have 5 children.
How many boys, girls?
3 boys and 2 girls.
3 boys and 2 girls. Any of them veterans?
Yes, my son, the oldest son is a veteran from the Navy.
From the Navy? What war was that?
Vietnam.
Vietnam. Fantastic. And for the record, how many grandchildren do you have?
I have 11 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
And
Great.
7 great-grandchildren. And the last one was a girl.
Wow. They keep you happy. You have your own little family army of girls too, probably, right?
No, not really. But
do they get along with the feisty grandma pretty good?
Oh, yes, yes.
You pass along your characters, traits to
well,
them.
I always said that any child that went to school should have one teacher that was a character. And anyone through me had that experience.
Now, going back to the beginnings, just being a World War II veteran, we know there weren't a lot of women that either...
No, there were 190,000 wax.
Right.
I have a granddaughter that made a history of the wax for one of her school projects.
Yeah.
That's why I know that 190.
I mean, 190,000 is really a very small group.
And there were only 17,000 that saw overseas duty.
Yeah, wow. So you're a select person.
Yeah, very small group.
I understand that not a lot of people were high school graduates back then, so you
No.
had a lot going for you. That's probably why they selected you to be in this particular unit, because you had some smarts.
Well, I hope.
And obviously, to be a teacher, you carried on your smarts, getting your college degree and stuff like that. So is there anything you'd like to say or close with, or, did I forget to ask you anything or anything?
No, I should mention the fact that in spite of never handling anything when I was overseas but top secret, I'm not considered an American citizen.
Whoa. And the reason is?
The place burnt where my records were kept from where I came into the States. And there's no record of me in there.
No one in our government or service?
I haven't been able to contact anybody that did anything.
That would say, obviously you have a DD-214 and things like that to verify your service, and that should grant you...
Should grant me citizenship.
Right. So, unofficially, you're not a citizen.
Unofficially, but I consider myself a citizen.
Right. You served our country. Well, you know what? Somewhere down the road, somebody will recognize that. Obviously, we have our medals here that Paul will probably zoom in on now, and maybe you can explain for the camera what some of those are.
This is the medal for being in Normandy at a certain period. This one is the American Defense Medal. This is my Northern European medal with the 4 battle stars on it because I was in 4 battle areas. They didn't give us one for being in Britain.
Should they have?
They should have. This is the World War II medal, and this is my Good Conduct medal, which my mother never could understand how I got.
Well, I'm sure that they presented it to you after you told them what you wanted to do without hesitation, because of course they could have called the general.
Yeah.
He'd have told them, give her the medal. So, anyways, let's look at some of the memorabilia that you brought in here, and maybe you can explain some of our pictures. And
this is a picture of a shampoo helmet. Our helmets were our best friends. We use them for everything.
So let me just kind of back this up a little bit here for Paul. You have a little water, a little shampoo that you put in your Army helmet. And now I know, how do you get that soap out of there without wasting that water?
Well, we combined soap and water.
Okay, so
we'd share.
Okay. Obviously, you did the
we
best.
We did have cold water, but that.
You did the best you could to, as women, to keep your image up and stuff.
Oh, and by the way, while we were in the tenting area, the men complained about having had to pitch our tents. So I was an old Girl Scouter. So I had everybody strike their tents and we put them up again. And that was the last time men did anything for us.
You were a little independent.
We all were.
Yeah.
We all were.
Well, I think it's part of your upbringing, your education, and your independence, and saying, hey, we're over here like the men doing what we can do.
And I can honestly say we never complained.
No.
Didn't matter what they handed us, we took it.
You're probably one of those women that if they did give a rifle to, you'd have said...
We would have. Yeah. They'd teach us how to break down a carbine.
Uh-huh.
But we never had to take any practice with it.
Let me look at some of these. What are we doing
this is me playing ball in Verdun.
Oh.
The men started a softball team, and so we started a softball team, and we had nobody to play. So I talked my husband into playing, the coach playing against us. And so they gave us first ups, naturally being gentlemen. And they horse played, let the ball drop, oh look, there's the ball, and so on and so forth. But what they didn't know was I had caught in college. And we had a girl who semi-pro pitcher. And the girl on first had 6 brothers, and she was the youngest in the family.
Uh-huh.
So...
You had some players.
We had some players. We had some tomboys out in the field.
Right.
And we got a 23-point lead the first inning, and we hung on to it. Now, by the skin of our teeth, but we hung on to it.
Oh, yeah.
That was the end of our...
Did you ever let your husband live that down?
No, never. But nobody else would play us.
Well, I mean, you know, obviously you showed him that you can play. So here we have some pictures.
Yeah, that's me sitting out in front of the tent area.
And that's you?
No, this is my friend. No, yeah, that's me. This is my friend.
Okay, let's look. Here you are sitting out in front of your tent. Obviously you got your clothes drying. Looks like some towels and some underwear or whatever. And there you are. Spiffy looking young lady. And here is your friend. And what was her name?
Miller Holbrook.
And she was pretty much the same job that you had?
Yes. Yeah.
And she was from where?
Grosse Pointe.
Grosse Pointe. And that was really another contact for coming to Michigan too, right? Yeah. Fantastic. What do we have here?
This was my husband and me watching. It was a parade where the officers were getting medals.
Uh-huh.
And this was the people I worked with.
Well, let me ask you this. Did some of the other GIs think we're jealous of your husband because he had female companionship?
Not really. We were a very small headquarters. There was only 3,500 in our headquarters. And
so your contact was kind of kept within itself.
Yeah. And all the girls dated somebody.
Well, you know, I can imagine telling somebody that you were a mess cook for wax, but the kids, grandkids might be like, huh? But if you get to date one of those wax, it wasn't so shabby.
This was in Versailles. That was us at having an afternoon off break, apparently.
Uh-huh.
And this was when we were moving to Lodell. There was a German plane.
Okay, this is at Versailles. It looks outside some little
it was a
pub
cafe.
or a cafe.
And this was a German plane that was down. We stopped by it. walked around it. I did have a piece of it. I don't know what I did with it.
And Melba was doing laundry.
She was doing her laundry.
So how often did you reuse this water?
As often as we could.
Yeah, because you didn't want to waste it.
No. We did have a stream nearby, and we had a, what do we call it, lister bank, was it, that they had water in?
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
So we could get cold water.
Oh, yeah. But even going in a stream and kind of rinsing off had to be, even though it's cold, had to be somewhat refreshing. Here we are.
Yeah, this is the dress uniform. I think there must have been a wedding or something I'd gone to. This is a Ike uniform.
Okay.
And
This is the one you altered the skirts to?
Yeah. And we didn't wear neckties. We called ourselves paratroopers. Bill Mulligan, the cartoonist, brought the word up. We were too close to the front line to get shot at, and too far to the rear to wear a neck. No, too close to the front line to wear a necktie, and too far to the rear to get shot at.
Okay. And here you are in going to some event with a flower.
That I had flowers for.
And this little picture, it's hard to see.
It's hard to see, yes. That we were issued slacks with our uniform.
Okay.
In those days, that was very unusual.
To have slacks?
To have slacks.
But then again, when the wintertime came, you go back to the skirts.
Yeah.
Oop. Can we stop for a second here? I'll flip it over. Okay, I just flipped over the tape and we looked at your pictures there.
This is another picture of me, and this is a picture of the First Army Group.
You were a gorgeous
insignia.
looking woman back there. How come you only ended up with one guy? You could have had to pick up a litter.
One was enough. The First Army Group patch is a collector's item.
Ah.
I have seen...
You still have that uniform?
Yes. Yes, I've seen 2 or 3 collections where they've said they have all the patches, and I say, oh, no, you don't. That one you don't have.
But that was while you were in London.
Yes.
Because when you went
but
over
there were only 3,500 of them issued.
Yeah, okay.
No, that isn't right. There were 2, every officer got 2 and every enlisted person got 1, so I don't know how many were issued, but it's not a patch that is...
You only had the one uniform.
Yeah.
So you didn't need to.
You do.
These
So
are,
it is a collector's item.
Yep, it is. Where would you taking these pictures while you were over there in London or
In Germany or
in
France.
Germany?
102.
So while the war ended, and obviously you said some of the people were there very appreciative of you. You could see the devastation over there.
Oh yes, yes. London was pretty. I really would like to go back because it was pretty thoroughly destroyed. It was amazing. St. Paul's Cathedral, how it stood, I don't know, because everything around it was down.
Yeah.
And there it stood in the middle of all the room.
You've never been back then to
No, I've
London
never
or
been back.
Europe or?
No.
Well, you still got a lot of years left
Can't
to go.
get a passport now.
That's right. I forgot about that citizenship.
I can't get a passport
Gosh,
now.
I hope
tried.
this video and tape does something for you. Who knows?
I have written my story.
You have.
Yes, my grandchildren nagged at me,
Uh-huh.
and then when I got a computer, it was easy to do.
Oh, absolutely. And where did you have it written someplace? It's
I
not.
have it written down.
It's not documented. It's not
No,
going to be
no.
sent to the
I
library.
thought about sending it to the Library of Congress.
I would. I absolutely would.
I call it Some Soldiers Wore Skirts.
Hey, that's a fantastic title. What a great title for a movie.
Yeah.
And, you could be the expert.
Make a fortune.
And Paul and I could, be narrators
Right in on
and
my
directors and stuff. Sure. Well, is there anything you'd like to say about your life that hasn't been spoken today?
I don't think so. I feel very fortunate to have had the experiences that I've had.
You did have a great career afterwards.
Yes.
You've been
Yeah.
retired now.
Yes, and the other day it was at something, and a young woman walked up to me and she said, "Are you Mrs. DeAngelis?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "I was in your 4th grade."
Oh my goodness. Well, I know we had spoken earlier before the interview, and you told me that you and your husband had spent, God rest his soul, passed away, but you spent 14 years of happy retirement together.
Yes.
You have any future ideas or plans to do something in your retirement? You're heading to Florida here.
I'm heading back to Florida. I don't do winters anymore. Not really. As I say, I would, if I could get my passport, I would like to go back and
Sure.
travel my route again. Be fun to go back and see what they've done with all the different areas.
Well, I think we pretty much got everything that I want. I can't think of anything to ask you. Paul, do you have anything?
No, that's fine.
I want to thank you
Well, thank you
for
doing it.
your service. I'm honored to know you. As I told you earlier, I really think you're a hero. Anybody that serves in the military, no matter what job they do, they guard the freedoms that this country offers, and I really realize you are the greatest generation.
Thank you.
And I'm honored to know you, meet you, and interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been great. Thank you.
Good. Now, you get to talk about anything that